Alright guys, welcome back to the Dark Souls Remastered walkthrough, Indiana Jones style. In this episode we're going to take on Dark Sun Gwyndolin, Knight Artorias, and we have to do some requirements in order to fight Black Dragoncalamite. And we're also going to pick up a few key items that we have to have in order to fight the remaining two bosses in the DLC. Then in the next episode we will definitely finish off the DLC bosses by fighting Black Dragoncalamite and Manus of the Abyss. But we won't get to those in this episode. Now, Dark Sun Gwyndolin is a rather interesting boss in that you have to constantly run towards him and he'll just disappear and he gets further down a seemingly endless hallway. However, you can reach the end of this hallway. It just takes about 5 minutes of running, but after you kill Dark Sun Gwyndolin, it's pretty easy to get to the end. Now, he has some major magic attacks here. This one is a large attack. It will go through any kind of obstacle, so you have to be careful. What he likes to do is he likes to follow up his little flurry of magic attacks with the one that can go through pillars and stuff, so you have to be careful. You have to dodge the small ones by getting behind cover, and then he'll use the big attack. So just be wary of him. Always have him in your sights. We're going to use the whip to take him out, double hand the whip and get a few shots in every now and again. You can see it's a long wind-up. It's very telegraphed, and the smaller one it takes less of a wind-up for him, but he will always follow up with that big attack, so you got to be wary of that. And then he'll rise up and shoot his arrows, and just go in a zigzag pattern as shown, and that's it. That's all of his attacks. So he has 3 attacks. That's it. He has the big attack, the small attack, and the arrows. So it's a very easy boss to fight. Very telegraphed boss. It just takes a bit of time to get to him. Now, while this is an optional boss, it is very beneficial to kill him on every playthrough. The reason being is the Sunlight Blade spell is at the end of the hallway. This is one of the best faith buffs you can have in the entire game. It is absolutely worth it. So I always kill this guy in every single playthrough just to get a good supply of the Sunlight Blade spell. Of course, we're not going to use it in this walkthrough, but it is good to grab it every time you're in a playthrough. And eventually, if you ever maxed out your attunement, you could get as many as 10. Well, if you used different rings, you get up to 12 as the absolute max you could get, but you would have to waste 2 ring slots for attunements, and I don't like to do that. So I would say base is 10. So if you played the game 10 times, you could have 10 Sunlight Blade spells at your disposal, which is absolutely ridiculous. There's also a set of armor, the brass armor that the Firekeeper in Orlando was wearing on the right side of this room coming up. It's a pretty slick piece of armor. But yeah, right in front is the Sunlight Blade spell. One of the best spells you can get in Dark Souls. It's very overpowered, especially if you use additional buffs like the ring that buffs your miracles and the Crown of Dusk on top of that. Boy, you'll be doing some absolute insane damage. But again, we're not going to be doing that in this walkthrough, but it is nice to have those things. So now that we've killed Dark Sun Gwyndolin, the Firekeeper in Orlando will become hostile. So we're going to deal with her by putting on the Hornet Ring so we can pretty much one-shot parry riposte her. Pretty much at this point, we're so powerful that we'll pretty much one-shot anything with one parry riposte on a humanoid enemy. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to sit at this bonfire anymore, but you can still warp to it. Now, if you back off from her, she will buff her blade with the Dark Moon Blade, which is a very powerful buff. But she didn't, for some reason, she didn't try to do it here. So that's pretty much it. One parry riposte, and she is toast. Now, we do get an additional Firekeeper soul here. So we definitely want to use that and upgrade our Estus Flask to +4. So we're going to go back to Fireleak Shrine and do that. And then we're going to make a little bit of a detour because we need to get another ring that we could have gotten much earlier in the playthrough, but I didn't think I would really need it. But then I thought about how it would be so much easier to avoid Black Dragoncalamite's attacks if I had the ring. So we're going to go get the Havels Ring so that our burden will be enough to do our fast roll. We need to fast roll, and without the ring at our current endurance, we're not going to be able to fast roll, so we need the ring. Alternatively, you could also get the Darkwood Grain Ring if you kill Shiva's assistant bodyguard, the ninja, but we're not going to do that either. Flipping around just isn't Indiana Jones' style. The most he's going to do is a roll, so a fast roll. Even though Dark Souls 2 was considered the black sheep of the Dark Souls franchise, I think it really improved on the bonfire warping, because in Dark Souls 1, not every bonfire is warpable, so there's a lot of needless walking from areas that you've already been to, but you can't warp to them, so it's really tedious, I guess you could say is the best word to describe it, because if I could just warp to a bonfire that was closer, but no, I have to walk all the way through the Valley of Drakes that I've already been through a million times, just to get to a bonfire that I could have just warped to closer to my objective. But no, I think Dark Souls 2 is a really good game, and it's really unfortunate that people think it's the worst of all the series. I actually think it's better for an Indiana Jones build too. There's a lot more options. You can actually double hand weapons in that game. It's really unfair how it was treated. I mean, yeah, it's not as good as Dark Souls 1 as far as design and all that, and the enemy placement's pretty poor, but yeah, this whole walking back and forth does get a little old after a while. So this next ring that we're going for, the Havels Ring, is a very good ring for any build because you can wear heavy armor, you can have heavy weapons. It gives you a 50% increase to your burden load, so you can actually not invest in any endurance and just have this ring and wear whatever the heck you want. So it's a very beneficial ring to have, and the reason we want it, as I mentioned before, is that we need to fast roll for some of these bosses coming up because they're very aggressive bosses, and the fast roll will get us out of a lot of dangerous situations. So to get to this ring, there's actually two ways you can get to it. You can go through where just before you go to the stairs to get to the Taurus Demon, there's a back door you can open with the Master Key to get to Havel. Or you could go through the Dark Root Basin. This is the way we're going. And there's the other door that leads to the tower. You get this key, even if you don't have the Master Key, you get this key for beating the Moonlight Butterfly. But you got to go right up here to the right. And be careful, as soon as you open the door, he is hiding off out of sight to the right against the wall. So he could potentially pancake you and one-shot you if you're not aware. But at this rate, at this point in the game, our armor's good enough to take a hit or two. But he's got well, oh, look at that. That's a large amount of health gone. So if he two-hands his Dragon's Tooth, he could very much take you out very quickly with just a few shots. So we just want to parry riposte him. It's only going to take a few of these. He does have a slight delay in his swing, as you just saw. He takes a minute. It's like just a little bit of a delay. It's only going to take 2 parry ripostes, and he's toast. And the Havels Ring is ours. One of the best rings in Dark Souls. Definitely one of the best to have in a walkthrough. You definitely want to get this before going to New Game Plus. Now that we have the Havels Ring, we have everything we need to take on Knight Artorias in the DLC. This is where we're going next. Knight Artorias is a very aggressive boss, and he can buff himself with the power of the Abyss. And once he buffs himself, he's going to do a lot more damage to you. So the best way to avoid this is to shoot him with Avalon, or just attack him multiple times as he's buffing. But he'll usually roll back twice and start buffing, so you'll pretty much know it's coming. But in addition to that, he's got sword attacks that are very powerful. He's got slams, he's got air attacks, but if you know the pattern, it's pretty easy to anticipate. And there is one attack that he does that's going to leave him wide open to pretty much anything, so you can heal, buff, or do whatever you need to do. Once he does his gigantic air attack, it takes him a minute to recover from it. So just like how we went to Marvelous Chester to get our leather jacket, we're going to take the same path to get to Knight Artorias. Of course, you saw the fog wall earlier that we didn't get to, so you got to make sure you just run past all these guys. It takes way too long to take on these guys, and there's tons of them, as I mentioned before. They're just everywhere. And you always want to make sure you let this elevator go back up, just in case you're having a hard time with Knight Artorias and you anticipate you're going to die a few times. So when you go down the elevator, make sure you make it go back up. So we're just going to make it go back up. Well, we didn't this time, but if you're struggling, just make sure you... Yeah, we are going to do it here. Just make sure you go up. Now, I don't have the Havels Ring equipped for this fight. I do have the Ring of Steel Protection because all of his attacks are physical. And we'll have a little bit of extra protection there. And we got the Leo Ring for when we do want to hit him with the Avalon. But we're going to use our Cestus more than... we're not using the whip in this one. We're going to use the Avalon and the Cestus. Now, when he does this rolling attack, he's either going to do 1, 2, or 3. Now, when he does the rolling attack, that's when you're going to punch him and just back off after that. He'll also do this one where he does his stab attack. You got to be very patient with this boss. Don't get over excited and try to hit him multiple times. You see how I just hit him? He went 3 there. You just got to wait for him to attack before you commit to anything. He'll also throw that little stuff at you. I don't know. Just kind of stuns you a little bit. Does minimal damage opposed to all of his other attacks that he does. Now right here, again, just a small attack with the Cestus. The hitbox on that thing, on that stab, is questionable. I've seen the blade not even touch me and I still get hit. So you just want to time it just right. As soon as you see him coming at you, just go ahead. And always try to get behind him when he's doing his flurry of attacks and hit him a couple times with the punch. Now, this is the attack right here where you can pretty much do anything you want. He takes time to recover from it. So you can feel free, and here's going to be the buff. When he's doing the buff, just shoot him twice with Avalon and he'll come out of it. Always try to, like I say, get behind him. I don't know how I got hit by that one. Not the best time to heal unless he's doing his gigantic attack. And the slam right there takes a good amount. I didn't get out of range of that one. There you get a good Leo hit right there, 287. We do need to heal here, and see, we're not going to do it until he does that attack. We're just going to hit him with the punch, back off of him. We actually took a risk there as well. Don't get hit by his spinning attack either. Now he's going... Well, it looked like he was going to do his buff there. And we actually stunned him in mid-roll. Not a Leo hit there, but it's a decent amount. Now here, because we had a delay of getting up, he's going to be able to buff. So when he does buff, don't go on the offensive. Go on the complete defensive. So we're not going to try to hit him at all right now. Our only objective is to avoid his attacks. Because he's buffed, he's going to do more damage. And we don't want to give him any... Well, there he goes. any attack that he does is going to do more damage, so we're just going to back off. Once you'll know his buff has worn off once you see the aura dissipate from him. You definitely need to heal those, so we're taking a chance here. And then there he goes with his large attack. There's a nice Leo hit. 285 285 is going to be pretty much a good successful counterattack from the Leo ring. And one something is going to be your other basic attack. Again, we've successfully negated his buff. And there's your opening again with that large. You'll know when he does that large attack. It's very telegraphed. So the times to attack are when he does a stab attack, when he does his large air attack, and when he buffs. Or to hit him with the fists when he does his 3 spinning or 2 or 1 spin. You don't ever know which one he's going to do. It's random. But those are really the only times to attack him. You can try to attack him during other attacks, but it's risky. But that's one of them right there. And since he's down to 1 hit, we're just going to attack him whenever he does any attack. Right here is going to finish him off. And that's it. Largely considered one of the best fights in Dark Souls series of Dark Souls. Not just this game, but all of Dark Souls. It's an okay fight. I wouldn't call it the best, though. Not really sure which one is. Now, we have opened up the area to the Olasil Township. This is a very important bonfire because it's the closest one you're going to get to a couple of areas that are central to this area. To Black Dragoncalamite and to the Manus. Well, there's one closer to Manus, but you have to go deep into the township to get to it. But for now, this is going to be the best bonfire you have access to. So upgrading it to plus 20, kindling it to plus 20 is quite a good idea. So for the rest of this video, we are going to go into the township, and we have to get a key item that we need to fight Black Dragoncalamite. We have to open up a tower that's going to lead us to Goth. Goth is the one of the 4 knights of Gwyn that had possession of the Hawk Ring. But he has since gone blind. But he is the only way you can fight Black Dragoncalamite. So you'll see it. I'm not going to try to spoil it right now. Now these enemies can hit you quite hard with their fists. And the best way to take them out is with Avalon or with the whip. If you do get lucky and actually hit them in the head, you're going to do a lot more damage with the Avalon. The whip will do a lot of cluster damage. As you can see, you can hit more than one of them. And I failed to mention before, our armor, the jacket, actually has a stealth element to it. So you can actually walk up to enemies, closer to enemies, without alerting their presence. Now there's the shortcut that we're going to open up right there later, but we don't have it yet. There's going to be 2 more enemies off to the right here. With Avalon, it's going to take pretty much all their health down to one hit. Now another key item that we're going for next is the silver pendant. Oh my God, is this going to be a helpful item when you fight Manus? You can do it without the silver pendant, but you got to be all pro, and I'm not, so we desperately need to get this item. It basically deflects black magic when you use it. But the problem with using it is you can't have your Estus available when you use it. So you have to... What I like to do is just take everything out of my inventory except for the Estus flask and the silver pendant when I'm planning on using it against the Manus. Now right here, there's 2 paths. You can go down the stairs or you can take a right here. And this is what you got to do. You got to take that right and follow the path all the way around until you get a drop-off point. It's pretty much linear up to this point. Fight this one guy here. Now here's the drop off. Just roll off to the right. You won't die. Now you want to go straight here and turn left, and you're going to need a light source. It pretty much tells you what to do here. It would have been too cryptic otherwise not to have a hint. And it's such an important item, they had to do something here. So we have our light source here, the skull lantern, which we could have traded to Snuggly the Crow for the fog ring, but we did not. The silver pendant. And we're going to equip it immediately because we're going to have some black magic users coming up. And like I said, we're going to keep the binoculars because we're going to need those, but everything else comes out. When we do fight Manus, we're going to pretty much empty our entire inventory out because we don't need anything but that. Now we're just going to Homer Bone out here because the entrance over there to the left, all it is some black magic spells, which we're not going to be interested in. So we're just going to go back to the township bonfire and do it again. And this time we're going to take the stairs instead of going around the path that we took. And hopefully we'll do a better job fighting these enemies as we did, as opposed to last time. If you're running a faith build, you can just run up to those cluster of enemies and activate the Wrath of Gods in one time, and they'll all go down. It's quite amusing to use it in a crowd like that. You catch them with a headshot, you'll pretty much one-shot them with the Avalon. And we're only using the small, the weakest of all the bolts, which are the wood bolts. There's no sense in wasting. We want to save the large bolts for Manus, no doubt. We want to have all of our large bolts for that boss. And for Black Dragoncalamite. But we're going to be using other weapons for Black Dragon as well. Our fist and our whip. Give them a little jab and then the whip. They will drop green Titanite shards, and they have a very great chance of dropping the large Titanite shards. Although at this point, you could just give a chunk to Frampton and get 3. Now, ahead of us is a Mimic. And because we're not going for a Mimic hat or anything else, we're not going to bother with it. It really isn't going to benefit us in any way. However, if you do destroy the Mimic, you will get a carving. It's like a cool little item you can throw on the ground for PvP. It basically says, hello, or as a way to greet your opponent or whatever. But you can buy some additional ones from Hawkeye Goth, which we are going to visit in this episode. Here is your first encounter with a black magic user from a distance. Earlier we were able to just shoot him around the corner, but this one we don't really have any choice. We have to face him head on. We don't have a bow or anything, so we can't hit him from this far away. So we're just going to activate it ahead of time. Sometimes he'll giggle between shots, so just watch what he's doing here. And he's just going all out on the attack, so we're just going to keep using it. Abuse the hell out of this pendant, I'm telling you. When you get close enough, just go ahead and finish him off. Now, coming up is one of the hardest rooms in the entire game, in my opinion, because of there's 2 black magic users, and there's a flurry of these guys here. There's a lot of them. So you got to take out the black magic users first, and I do die here, but I edited it out, so you're not going to see it. But you'll probably notice the edit here because I have my humanity says 7, and you're fixing to see it disappear during the edit. So yeah, I did die here. So it's a very common area to die because it's a pain in the ass with these black magic users. So you see here, there's at least 4 of these guys here. There's a guy, the black magic users on the balcony above us, above that fireplace right in front of us. And there's another black magic users behind the stairs, which you can't get to him. So you're going to be in harm's way one way or the other. So the best way I've figured out to do this is to just take out a few of these guys first, but make sure you're out of range. You're out of range here of the black magic attacks. We want to kind of clear out the other enemies first so they won't bother us while we're trying to take out the other guys. Here. We're still not going to be able to hit this guy. And you see, if you try it, you see how you got in range of the other guy. But we're trying to lure out that other enemy so we can just take him out. And there's our souls down there. And we definitely want to get to those as well. But he can't hit you from if you're on the stairs. But we want to just kind of get behind this pillar here. He will move around. He'll also do a poison attack, like a fog, which will poison you. But hopefully you'll have enough of your moss left over. You shouldn't need it too much. Just lure these guys, aggro these guys towards you. And use the wall for cover again. These black magic attacks are no joke in this game. They will just devastate a life bar. They're the most powerful attacks as far as magic is concerned. So we got to take them very seriously. I don't know what I'm doing here. This is a bad idea. Don't worry about the binoculars. Just run. Just go. You want to go ahead and get to the point where you're trying to get to. Here I'm just trying to lock onto him. And it's not working, so at this point we've realized we can't take him out. This is not the area you want to go to. The area you want to go to is off to the right of the stairs that you came down. And so that's where we're going. There's the stairs right there, and off to the right you want to go this way. We have to kill a mimic that holds the key that we need to open up a door that leads to Hawkeye Goth. Now you can use this area to lure out a few more of these enemies, but this is not the area we need to go to. But I'm walking all the way to the end here, and there's a drop-off point where it just leads you back to where you were. Right here's the drop-off point. But there's going to be some more enemies coming from behind. There's one there. And we killed the other one earlier, so. But this is not where you want to go. There's a very specific area you have to drop off. You can see the guy right there, and you have to roll off of this ledge and onto this area right here. And there's the mimic right there. But let's first take out this guy before we deal with the mimic. And we're going to use our whip and just go to town on him immediately. He's got some long drawn out attacks, but don't get grabbed by him. If he does that grab right there, you're dead pretty much. But he's a pushover with the Avalon, so, and the whip. Now we have the key we need, the crest key. Now before we go back, let's open up a very good shortcut that we mentioned earlier in the township that will lead to the area that leads to the boss. But it's not. There's actually another bonfire, but this is going to get us closer to it because there's another gauntlet of black magic users that could give players some problems, and you definitely want to have a shortcut opened up, and it's right here. Just do a quick turn and make sure you go up this elevator. You'll know where you are. You're back in the township, close to the bonfire. Now before we visit Hawkeye Goth, let's go ahead and upgrade our stats at the bonfire. Our strength and dexterity are our only stats that we're worried about for attacking enemies. You can still work on vitality if you want, but I think we're at a good spot for vitality. We have 31 vitality. We don't really need to work on that right now. And we've upgraded our armor, so we've gotten a little extra bonus there. At first I was toying with it, but then I'm like, nah, let's go ahead and go. And then I was toying with maybe I should go all dexterity because I'm not going to use the cestus much. Then I changed my mind again. So we're just going to keep it balanced. We're going to go strength, dex, strength, dex, strength, dex, strength, dex. So that's where we're at. It's good to have balance in Dark Souls. And if we're just balancing out our stats, we're going to have good bonuses on our weapons. So up these stairs is the area that leads to Hawkeye Goth. But without the crest key, you can't get into his tower. And the tower's right here to the right. You'll hear him carving up some wood, which is his occupation now. And like I said before, you can buy his carvings, which are used for PvP or co-op. Now you have to exhaust his dialogue, and sometimes he won't say what you need him to say. As you can see, he's not doing it. So we're going to leave and come back to him. Answer yes. And an epic cutscene coming up. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to take on Black Dragoncalamite and Manus of the Abyss. See you guys there.